Okay, in today's lesson we're still looking at volumes of solids, but now we're going to be given the volume of a solid and we're going to have to find one of the other two dimensions of the solid, either the radius or the height. So here's a quick review of the four formulas for volumes of solids that we know of: the sphere, cone, cylinder, and pyramid. So let's just jump into an example. Our first example, find the height of a cylinder with a volume of 30 inches cubed and a radius of 1 inch. So first of all, the height of a cylinder. So let me find the volume of a cylinder. It's V equals pi times the radius squared times height. So I'm going to write that down. And now I'm going to plug in 30 for my volume, since they tell me my volume is 30. Pi is a constant, so I write that down. My radius is 1 inch, and I don't know my h, my height. That's what they want me to find. So I want to solve this equation for h. So let me clean this up a little bit. 30 can stay the same. Pi times 1 squared. 1 squared is 1, and 1 times pi is pi. So all I have to do to solve for h is get rid of the pi. Since it's pi times h, I'm going to divide by pi, and this is my answer. Exactly, but we really don't like that. We want to write it as a decimal. So I'm going to open up my calculator and I'm going to go 30 divide second pi, and there I go. I have 9.5 and my units are linear and they're inches. So that's it for number one. Number two, find the height of a cylinder with a volume of 720 pi feet cubed and a radius of 6. So similar to number one, except they give me my volume in terms of pi. So I'm using the same formula as above since I still have a cylinder. My volume now is 720 pi. Again, pi is a constant, so I'm going to write that down. My radius is 6. So it's 6 squared, and I still want to find the height. So I write an h. I guess, oops, I forgot the pi right there. I guess I'm going to clean up the right-hand side a little bit. I know 6 squared is 36, so I can make that 36 pi times h. And again, I just have to divide now by 36 pi. I can divide by both of those at the same time. Let's see, let's go over to the right here. So those cancel, those cancel. So my height is 720 pi divided by 36 pi. I can put that in the calculator as is, but don't forget you'd have to put parentheses around the numerator and denominator. But a little shortcut, since I have a pi in the numerator and denominator, they both cancel out, so I can just reduce this to 720 over 36 and put that in my calculator. That'll be easier. Let's see, 720 divide 36, there we go, 20, and it looks like I'm in feet. That's it. Let's see, number three is still working with, let's change colors here, a cylinder. So I'm using the same formula. Now my volume is 950, so I put in 950 for V, and my height is 10. So now I have to find the radius. Again, since all these terms are being multiplied, I can just divide by both the 10 and the pi. And now it's a little bit of calculator work. So I get r squared equals 950 over 10 pi. So when I type this in the calculator, don't forget, if there are two things in the denominator, you have to put parentheses around it to divide by both of them, or else it won't give you the correct answer. And I did that, and I got r squared equals 30.2, but I'm not there yet. I have to do one more thing. I want r, not r squared. So to get rid of a squared, hopefully you recall, you take the square root. To do this in the calculator, I'm going to hit second square root, and the square root button is just above the x squared button, which is diagonally up and to the left of the 7. And then I'm going to hit second and the negative sign, because if you look at the Second option on the negative sign, it brings back the previous answer. So when it says ANS there, it brings back the 30.239. And I hit enter, and there is, my answer. So R, the squared goes away because I took the square root, and I guess that's 5.5 if I round correctly. All right, number 4 is the same, so in an effort to save a little time, we can skip that one for right now. I jump down to number 5. Find the height of a cone. Okay, so now I'm dealing with a cone, so let me go back up to my formulas. Let's see, a cone, the volume is 1/3 times pi times the radius squared times the height. V equals 1/3 pi r squared h. So let me write that down. And let me plug in what I know. My volume is 150. I write down my 1/3 and my pi. They tell me my radius is 10, so that's 10 squared and an h. Now, the easiest way to solve a problem or solve an equation with fractions is, instead of dividing by 1/3, I can multiply by its reciprocal. And hopefully you know the reciprocal of a fraction is simply the fraction flipped over. So on the left-hand side, I have 3/1, which is 3, times 150, and I know that's 450. The two fractions on the right cancel out. I'm going to clean up the pi and the 10 squared. 10 squared is 100 pi times h. And now I can just go back to my calculator and divide by 100 pi. And those cancel. So I get height equals, and I'm going to go back to my calculator. What is that? 450 divided by, again, since I'm dividing by 100 and pi, I need to put that in parentheses. Close parentheses. There you go, 1.4. And it looks like that's inches. All right, 6, find the radius of a cone. So I'm still dealing with a cone. Let's do a different color here, change it up. Same formula. I plug in my volume of 175. Now I want to find the radius, so r squared, I leave r as a variable, and my height is 21. All right, I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I'm going to multiply by 3/1, which is just 3. And I guess I will go to my calculator to make sure I do this right. 3 times 175, 525. The 1/3's gone because I just multiplied by the reciprocal. And now I'm going to do the same as before. I'm going to divide by 21 pi. And that's going to give me my value for r squared, not r. I still have to take the square root. So 525 divided by parentheses 21 second pi 7.95. And now one more step, take the square root, and I'm done. Second square root, second answer, which is above the negative sign, 2.8. And that's centimeters. All right, we're going to do one more together. Find the radius of a sphere. Volume. Okay, so I need the volume formula for a sphere. And it's all the way up there. 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. All right, my volume is 113.04. I have 4/3 pi r cubed. I'm going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of the fraction, which in this case would be 3/4. And then the fractions cancel out. Let's see, parentheses, 3 divided by 4, delete, times 113.04. I get 84.78 equals pi times the radius cubed. Now I just divide by pi. And now this gives me my radius cubed. So we'll talk about that in a second. Let's see. So I'm going to divide second pi, and I get 26.98. Now, to take the cube root, I don't take the square root because this is not squared. I take the cube root, which is located underneath the math button. We know where that is, just below the green button on the left. And it's the fourth option. You'll see the little square root with a 3 on it. So you can either scroll down to it, or you can simply hit the number 4 and the cube root pops up. And I want to take it of my previous answer, and I get 2.99, which I guess I would round to 3. And that's it. So I hope this all made sense. If not, you can always rewatch it. The assignment's in Google Classroom. Good luck. Thank you.